Okay, guys, what's up? Rideshare guy here, and today I've got my tax hat on because I'm going to help you guys with taxes today. So, I've done a couple podcasts, I've got a course coming out, a video course coming out that's going to have a nice module on taxes with a nice video, and obviously a bunch of articles on the site. But one quick question that I wanted to address right now that a few of you have been asking me is, will I get a 1099 with Lyft and Uber? Now, here's the thing with these 1099s, right? Uber and Lyft, they actually consider themselves third-party payment processors or providers, whatever the heck that means. Okay, so basically what they're doing is they're kind of exploiting this whole loophole that, they consider they're not technically, a taxi company, right? They just match a passenger with a driver, and that's kind of been their thing. All that they do is process the payments and, basically provide. So whatever, regardless of what you think about that, that's how they're basically qualifying themselves to the IRS right now. So what that means for you is that generally when you're a 1099 employee in the past, if you make over $600, you're going to receive a 1099, right? So with, lots of freelancers and artists and things like that, they know that if they make over 600, they're going to get a 1099 MISC at the end of the year. Now, let's say you don't make $600. Are you going to get a 1099? No. Do you have to pay taxes though? Yes. Unfortunately, 1099 doesn't mean whether you have to pay taxes on that amount or not. It just means whether that company is going to report to the IRS how much you made. The onus is always on you to report the correct amount of income. So let's say you only made $500 with a traditional, you're a freelancer or a writer or something like that. You wouldn't get a 1099, but you still have to report that as income. Now, where that comes into play with Lyft and Uber is because they have two different situations, okay? So when you look at all your bonuses and driver referrals and mentor rides, so basically everything except actually going out and giving rides as a driver, that falls under the old rules. So if you made over $600 in bonuses, whether it's driver referrals, passenger referrals, mentor rides, anything like that, even reimbursements, then you will receive a 1099 MISC from Lyft and Uber. Now, Lyft actually has this policy published on their website. Uber used to have the exact same policy published, but it's not there anymore. You can email support and see, but they both had the exact same policy at one time. Lyft's still on their website, Uber's isn't on their website for whatever reason. But so how that comes into play, so now you're going to get that 1099 MISC if you make over $600 and all those miscellaneous bonuses and referrals and things like that. Now the other thing is you're going to get a 1099K if you make over $20,000 and do over 200 rides. Now, in this case, if you're making 20,000, you probably are doing over 200 rides. Otherwise, you're having some really nice rides. But the vice versa might not be true. If you do 200 rides, you won't make $20,000. So that's something to keep in mind. You have to qualify for both of those two things. So you have to make over 20,000 and do over 200 rides in order to receive a 1099K from Lyft and Uber. Now, the same thing applies, right? Let's say you make $10,000 and do 300, 400 rides, right? You still owe taxes on that. It's just that Lyft and Uber aren't going to report to the IRS how much money you made. So the onus is on you to go when you fill out your Schedule C on your taxes. And if you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, definitely go and view all my other resources or consider the video course. But so when you go and fill out your Schedule C, now you have, all right, I don't have a 1099, but I still have to report the amount of income. So that's why it's super important when it comes to IRS, it's all about documentation, documentation, and documentation, right? You guys got to make sure that you keep good records because if you don't get a 1099, you're going to have to go in there and calculate all your pay statements and add it up yourself, right? So how much money did you make? Because Lyft and Uber, they may not send a summary if they don't send a 1099, right? They should because it would be handy. So if they do end up sending a summary, that's different than a 1099, but that's the amount that you'll report. Otherwise, let's say you make $12,000, $10,000, you have to go in and on your Schedule C, you put in that amount, even though you didn't get a 1099. So that's pretty much all the situations when you will and when you won't get a 1099. But the biggest takeaway that you should take from this is however much money you earn in a single year, whether you get a 1099 or not, you still have to report that amount on your Schedule C. It's just kind of a matter of documentation. Is it going to be a little bit more work or a little bit less work? All right. So hopefully this video was useful for you guys and you learned a little bit about taxes today.